and an equal voice in matters of the nation. I am privileged to be the first president to oversee the full implementation of this Constitution. This, of course, means that my administration is also the first to be faced with the unique challenges posed by the new constitutional order, particularly as we set out to deliver on the promises that we made to the people of Kenya. The last 2.5 years of this journey have been extremely fruitful, but at the same time, we have had our share of challenges. Having savored our successes, and also having taken stock of our challenges, the time has now come to give my government's development agenda fresh impetus and to give the Kenyan public a demonstrable example of our unwavering commitment to delivering on the promises of my administration. It is on this basis that I am announcing today the several or far-reaching structural and personnel changes that will go to the heart of government. The changes are proposed to achieve 4 principal objectives. The first objective is to enhance the efficiency of the public service. This will be done through fast-tracking the adoption of technology, improving processes to reduce red tape, providing for better oversight and leadership at each level of government administration. The second objective is to ensure the accountability of public officials in the discharge of their mandate. This will be done by implementing the new public procurement legislation, better delineation of roles and responsibilities as relates to public expenditure, and giving the necessary power and responsibility to accounting officers to make better decisions on budget management. The third objective is to guarantee the accessibility of public officers to those whom they serve. This will be done by reducing the size of their dockets into more manageable units and allowing those in charge to have better visibility of service delivery in their respective portfolios. And more importantly, to have time to engage with their key stakeholders as they execute the delivery of the government agenda. The fourth and last objective is to review the effectiveness of government programs and projects for the public good. This will be done by undertaking an audit of our short and medium-term development objectives to ensure that only those projects that have a direct impact on the socio-economic well-being of the public make it through for cabinet approval. Fellow Kenyans, I now turn to the specifics. First, I have reviewed the scope of the existing ministries, and I have increased the size of cabinet from the current 19 ministers to 20 ministries. I expect that this change will allow cabinet secretaries to focus better on their deliverables by eliminating some of the overlap that existed before, and also through increased focus to important areas that will drive our economic growth. Each ministry will be headed by a cabinet secretary. Secondly, the role of state departments in each ministry has been identified as the key point of inflection for driving real change in the way we run government. It is clear from our past experience that some of the departments were far too large and indeed difficult to administer. In some cases, they were not aligned to key government objectives. Therefore, after extensive consultations with the Public Service Commission, I have increased the number of state departments from the current 26 to 41 in order to help address these deficiencies. It is my expectation that a larger number of our anti-corruption initiatives will be implemented through these state departments. In particular, the overhaul of all procurement departments within the ministries and state corporations under them. Each state department will be headed by a principal secretary. Lastly, I will on a separate date be announcing the reorganization of the Executive Office of the President in order to create the necessary structures for effective coordination of my government, to improve my own ability to serve the Kenyan people more effectively. And in this regard, I will be signing a new executive order to reflect the changes to the coordination of national government entities. This will be circulated to all public servants within the next 2 weeks. I am now requesting the National Assembly to fast-track the vetting and approval of those persons who are newly nominated as cabinet and principal secretaries, so that my team and I can get down to work as soon as possible. Fellow Kenyans, under the newly reorganized setup of government, the following are the details of the cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries. Cabinet secretaries. The Ministry of Mining, the Honorable Dan Kazungu. The Ministry of Environment, Professor Judi W. Wakhungu. The Ministry of Devolution and Planning, Mwangi Kiunjuri. The Ministry of Water and Irrigation, Eugene Wamalwa. The National Treasury, Henry K. Rotich. Sports, Arts and Culture, Dr. Hassan Wario. Education, Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Transport and Infrastructure, James Macharia. Agriculture, Willy, Bett. Interior, General Retired Joseph K. Nkaisserry. Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Amina, Mohammed. Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs, Cecille, Karimi, Kariuki. Tourism, Najib Balala. Energy and Petroleum, the Honorable Charles Keter. Health, Dr. Cleophas Mwinzi Mailu. Labor and East African Affairs, Phyllis J.K. Kandie. Defense, Ambassador Dr. Rachel Award Omamu. Lands, Professor Jacob T. Kaimenyi. Industrialization, Aden Mohammed. ICT, Joe Mucheru. Attorney General, Professor Githu Muigai. Principal Secretaries, Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Richard Lesiampi. Arts and Culture, Mr. Joe Okudo. Basic Education, Dr. Belio Kipsan. Broadcasting and Telecommunication, Sami Itimere. Cooperatives, Ali Nur Ismail. Correctional Services, Michael Powon. Defense, Ambassador Peter K. Kaberia. Devolution, Mwanamaka Mabruki. East African Integration, Betty Chemtai Maina. Energy, Engineer Joseph Njoroge. Environment, Charles Sunkuli. Fisheries, Professor Ntiba Misheni. Interior, Engineer Karanja Kibicho. Youth and Public Service, Lillian Omolo. Health, Nicholas Muraguri. Housing and Urban Development, Aida Munano. ICT and Innovation, Victor Kialo. Industry and Enterprise Development, Julius Korir. Infrastructure, John Musoniki. Foreign Affairs, Dr. Ambassador Monica Juma. International Trade, Dr. Charles Kipto. Irrigation, Patrick Ndwati Mwangi. Labor, Khadija Kasachom. Lands, Mariam Elmawi. Livestock, Dr. Andrew K. Twimore. Maritime Commerce, Nancy Karigidu. Mining, Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim Mahmoud. The National Treasury, Kamau Dhuge. National Water Services, Fred Sigor. Natural Resources, Dr. Margaret Mwakima. Petroleum, Andrew Kamau Nganga. Planning and Statistics, Saitoti Torome. Public Works, Dr. Paul Mariga Mwangi. Social Security and Services, Susan Muchache. Special Programs, Josfeta Mkobe. Sports Development, Richard Ikai. Tourism, Fatuma Hersi. Transport, Wilson Nyakera Irungu. University and Higher Education, Professor Coletta Suda. Vocational and Technical Training, Dr. Dinina Mwinzi. Gender Affairs, Zainab W. Hussein. I thank you very much. Good evening.